Matters, and every environment affects us negatively or positively, depending whether it's geographical, whether it's digital, whether it's however you choose to look at it. Our environments change us. For example, you can grow up in a life whereby things have been very rough, and then you meet one person who's from a calmer type of environment. As you engage with them, you start picking traits from them, and they start picking traits from you. Maybe from you, they are picking survival, and you from them, you are picking empathy. And next thing you know it, you start speaking almost like them, and they start speaking almost like you. And this is just a friendship, networking, a relationship, depending on how you choose to look at it. And eventually, we all pick from one another. For example, some of the words that I've been able to learn were through entertainment. If you ask me about a particular country and some words I was able to pick was because of a particular country. That even affected the types of clothes or brands that you used to see. For me, thank God, I've not been the type that is always wooed by the fashion and all that, but I'm open to learning. Because you'll see things like people would even have a particular design, a shirt and everything. For me, a shirt is just a shirt. I know when you put the label, it becomes a premium, but whatever. I just want a shirt. I care less about the rest. But that's just me. For other people, it's a lifeline. Someone else is a phone. They've seen this phone in so many movies and entertainment. They believe this is their phone. For some of us, we just want to communicate, be able to do whatever we need to do, and we keep moving. I grew up in a very interesting life, and I think this could be a very good example. Childhood, very rough neighborhood, mob justice of the order of the day, crime, murder, all those things that you look back and say, yikes. I was used to it. I was used to seeing. Also, when others have come to learn about intercourse at, I don't know, when they are teenagers or college, some of us, we saw these things very young because it was done openly, and you'd know that and you see that, and we understood that environment rose in a type of way. Crime, police brutality, these are things we are so used to. Like one I never forget, I was 6 years, where it was within a church, political environment at that time. And I remember these two men, their head were bashed by one police officer until their brain was open. I think one died on the spot, the other one died to the hospital. I was 6 years, I saw it all. Mob justice, someone would run, jump into a neighbor. Next thing you see fire. Then you know, okay, they burnt that one. Then I moved to another neighborhood, calmer type of neighborhood. Didn't have that type of violence, but wasn't that secure because outside our gate, people are getting robbed. Even where we lived, people are getting robbed. We just got lucky. And that environment did affect me. So I remember moving to a class and I was bullied. I was already used to bullying, but I was getting this bullied and being bullied by this. And I'm thinking, I just need. But the environment was a bit calmer and it did change my approach. Then I moved into another environment, even very calmer and very distant. And so even the things and the conversations are different. And each and every one of that has affected me positively and other places negatively. I look at high school. I went to two high schools. Both were very violent. One was a bit calmer. The second was quite violent. And the first one is whereby I was able to witness a strike. I was able to see police literally use real bullets on high school students. I'm talking someone at the age of 14 being shot with a real life bullet, and cops really don't care in our country. They shoot anything and everything. And I was new into that environment, but I was already prepped for it. I already had grown up in that, seeing violence. So it wasn't that bad. But in that particular one, I slept in the forest. And then I also slept in tarmac. And I can tell you, sleeping in tarmac at night, it's a warm bed. But the only problem is you sleep, that guy's going to roll over your head. Like, you'll be flattened. But there's a thing about the warmth. I kind of learned how to sleep there. Scouting, I did a lot of sleep in the camping in very interesting areas, wild areas. So I got used to the wildlife type of life. The second high school was also violent because now there, when you now imagine this, you have this tank and this water they put, I think, chlorine or something, and say when they're washing it, when the water is being drained, you'll see snakes, a dead dog, a frog, lizard, shoes, and then all of us will look at each other. I'm like, did we just drink that? And then after it's drained, we go back and drink the same water because like we really don't have options. Borehole water is what's there. We have to survive. The food we were given, we used to call it dog food because actually it actually was dog food in a way, because it wasn't like prepared the normal. Like if this food was prepared wrongly and you threw it in a wall, it would stick. So if it fall into your gums, it would be sticky. And hospital, actually we were so common students to the hospital because of the type of food. Paraffin was put in our food. So the maize and beans, they'll put paraffin. So we used to call the top layer. So if you take the top layer, you have weevils and paraffin. And then, so you target not the top layer, the middle layer, not the last one. The last one has a lot of weevils. The top one has a lot of weevils and a lot of paraffin. So you take the middle layer. So when you are queuing for the line, you'd make sure wherever you are queuing, you target. We also had this type of white porridge where we used to call it glue. And when you drink it, you doze off. But we used to spice it up, whether you put sugar or you put Blue Band, whether you put drinking chocolate there. For the lunch, we had a lot of weevils in that one. So we'd make that word, I don't remember how to say that word. It was a mixture of onion and some type of oil we used to make, and then to spice it up. Those were survival times. And if we lacked water from the borehole, all the boreholes were destroyed. The tap. So plumbing there was a budget for the institution. And why? Because the institution chose not to sort it out. So even they had to lose. That was the life. And you go to college, is a whole different life. Go to campus, a whole different environment. Go work in a government, a whole different environment. Work in a particular corporate, different environment. Then now the countries, went to a few countries. And in those ones, I went through another whole culture shock. Whether it was food, things I saw. Like in one country, I remember when you have groundnuts and you put it in a paper foil, like a gazette, a newspaper, roll it into a cone, and then you put groundnuts. That's how we do it here. In that particular country, those are grasshoppers, but they are dried. So I noticed when someone was eating, I noticed something on this area. I told someone, maybe I'm seeing my own things, but that's not groundnuts. I'm not seeing anything. They're like, no, it's called ABCD name. I was like, oh. But what I picked from their country, I was able to pick the food. There's a particular food that even today I'll prepare as my supper because I love that. There were things that I was like, not for me. But there were things that for me. I remember I was ill and I was told by this doctor, go back to your country. I'm like, got it. And then you're expecting, when they do the lab test, you get the report like that day, and you're told it will be sent to you on email 2 weeks. I'm thinking, man, I'll be dead by then. So you learn to stick with the painkillers and all that stuff. I go to another country. That's when I learned to appreciate freedom. Because that country, the military addressed like the actual police. So it's more or less like they don't have police. It's just military in police attire. And it's scary. It looks beautiful and all, but you can feel the tension. But that's the only place I think I learned where people even knew where their embassy is. And when people really know where their embassy is, just know people are really freaking out. So different environments change us. They can change us positively or negatively. What saddens me is how politicians take advantage of those differences and then pin us against each other, whether on race, whether on ethnicity, whichever way. For example, like English, we didn't learn English in this country the way we'd want it. It was beaten on us. Like we'd be forced to put on sacks, like sacks. Yes, the sack, the way you put me sack, that sack, yes, sack. And then it had a name. So if you failed, you would be put in the parade and everyone would laugh at you. So we learned English the painful way. French, we wanted to go to Paris. until we are hit with the reality of exams. You're like, yeah, maybe let's just stick to the. So cultures, environments changes. Just take it positively. Drop what's negative, take what's positive, and grow. There's a lot to learn every day of our life.